All right, let's just review our dependency ratios. Child dependency ratio puts the 0 to 14-year-olds, those are our children, over the working class, which is 15 to 64-year-olds. Old age dependency, old ages are considered 65 and over, and again, we compare them to the working class. When we look at just straight up age dependency, that's where we take our 0 to 14-year-olds, we add to it our oldies at 65 and over, and we divide it by our working population, 15 to 64. So that's how we get those ratios. Now let's go ahead and put them into practice. According to the U.S. Census, Indiana's population was approximately 6,423,113. If over 1.5 million of those people were under 15, so these are our children, over 827,000 were our oldies. Calculate our ratio, our different ratios. Well, let's think about this. If we have the oldies, here's our oldies and youngies. We need to figure out our working class. So if we take our 6,423,113, subtract our kids, subtract our oldies, we are going to get our working class. And our working class then is 4,009,365. Okay, so now we can go ahead and find our ratios. So our that's a bad color. Let me change here. Child dependency ratio. We need our kids. 1,586,157 over the working class, 4,009,365. That gives me a decimal of 0.396. And there's our child dependency ratio. That means, and I always go 3 decimal places, so if I would go to 3, that means 396 out of 1,000. There are 396 dependent children on 1,000 workers. That's what that means. Okay, let's go to the old age dependency ratio next. So our oldies, we have 827,591 oldies, again over the working class. 4,009,365, and that gives us a decimal of 206, 0.206. So that means there are 206 dependent oldies on every 1,000 workers, because 3 decimal places is 1,000. So 206 oldies are dependent upon 1,000 workers. And then when we go to the age dependency, so just straight age, we're going to take this number and add them together, and we get 2,413,748 divided by the working population of 4,009,365, which ends up being 0.602. So that means for every 1,000 workers, because this is 602 over 1,000, for every 1,000 worker, there are 602 people who are dependent upon them. That is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, the next problem is very similar. So we get the total population of DC, and then we know that just under 52,000 were old, 113,000 some were young, and we want to find the values. Well, again, you're going to have to take the total, subtract the old people, subtract the young people, and get a working population of 433,984. And now we can find our different ratios. So we go for children. We go for the young ones. Well, there are 113,730 youngins over the working class, the 15 to 64-year-olds. Gives me a decimal approximation of 0.262, quite a bit less than what we had in the last one. And that means, remember your fractions, 262 over 1,000, that means there are 262 child dependents on 1,000 workers. So if we have 1,000 in the working population, they need to help support 262 kids. That's what that means. Okay, so the next one, old age. Let's talk about our oldies. So we take the old population, 51,943, and we put it over the working population, 433,984. That decimal approximation is 0.120. So we have 120 oldies dependent on 1,000 workers. Now that's way less. That's less. It just seems like in DC there's just not that many oldies, right? I guess you could say. And if we go to straight age dependency, again, straight age, we're going to add the two numerators together, and we end up with 165,673 over the working population of 433,984, and we get a decimal of 0.382, which would mean in DC, for every 1,000 workers, they are helping to support 382 dependents. Okay. Now, to have a prosperous economy, would you want a high or a low age dependency ratio? So think about that for a minute. And you probably can have some different answers, but in general, I think you want a low. If you think about families who have 12 kids, they don't have a lot of extra money to put into the economy because they're spending their money supporting their family, right? Putting food on the table, getting the necessities. Whereas you have a family that has no kids, right? They can go on trips, they can go buy more shoes, they can do other things with their money because they don't have those dependents. It's the same concept. The less people dependent on you, the more money that is just free in the economy, and then you know, we have better economy going. Okay, so that's a basic age dependency ratio dealio.